This is an epic build though. Like,
this is dope, dude.
Like, I would say that this is probably one of the most epic UNS builds possible.
What's up guys, welcome back. It's the next day. We're gonna finish gluing the hardscape to some rocks to make sure it doesn't move when we're transporting this, as well as adding to the slopes in the back of the tank to further push that sense of depth. Today we are planning to plant and hopefully finish up this tank.
So I made a good but bad drawing, and this is top view. So once we get to the more complex areas like the midground and the background, Parker and I will have a somewhat of a visual representation of where we're gonna plant what stems, because we do have a ton of stems.
Your drawing is helpful, especially because we're planting with 2 people. At home, I don't know if I would use something like this, but I think it's helpful because me and you are both doing this. Like if you were to point at your drawing, I could see where I'd be planting in person.
So we'll try this out and we'll see what happens. Please like and subscribe for my great drawing. So what we're doing now is we're just moistening up the front of the soil by just adding water. Normally what we would do with a smaller tank is just spray it down with a sprayer, but using a hose with the soft shower option helps this process get speed up by a lot. So we'll get back to planting now.
When we are rinsing these TC cultures, super important to get as much of the agar out as possible. So we are dipping it in water and just very gently removing some of that agar with our hands, and then putting it in this water bucket.
Once you're done rinsing, you just want to gently peel it into small parts. My own preferred method is to not even separate the whole tissue culture, leave it in a clump. And what I'll do is I'll pick off small parts like this, and this is what I'll plant.
So we're just taking our time, being methodical, as previously mentioned, starting at either corner and just kind of converging towards the middle.
We're planting it 1/2 inch or so apart from each other. And then afterwards, we can go back in if we have any extra plants and pack it more densely.
It's definitely worth it if you're gonna splurge, to splurge on the plants. It kind of helps balance some of the nutrient issues that you can have. So if you're using aqua soil, a lot of the times you'll have problems with nutrients, but if you plant super heavy from the beginning, they'll start uptaking that nutrients right away, and it should help with algae problems.
Did you wash 1 cup or 2 cups?
Me?
Yeah.
2, but it looks like 1. Why does mine look so little?
Yeah, why does yours look so little?
I don't know.
So as we mentioned before, this tank is going to a show, and a lot of the plants we chose to plant in this tank are pretty much fast growers. Personal opinion, I think that this tank could have looked good with Monte Carlo or Glossostigma as a foreground, but hairgrass is a very much so guaranteed fast foreground grower.
I do like the choice of hairgrass though, just because of how wild the wood is. I think that hairgrass kind of plays into that chaotic look that we went for with the hardscape. Yours are like showing root. I plant them so deep you can't see the roots. I think that's the difference.
I know that the roots will take care of themselves eventually.
Yeah, that's smart. So we just finished planting our 30 cups of TC hairgrass. This carpet's gonna grow in super great once we start adding light, adding CO2, ferts, stuff like that. Next, we're doing the midground plants, and we are doing S. Repens and AR Mini. So S. Repens will be that nice dark green, kind of growing up from around these encoves, and then the AR Mini will be that splash of red to kind of help balance out our back stems. Should be great. And one of the nice things about S. Repens, if we are using the TC of the UNS plant, there's no need to really wash off the agar. It kind of just like pulls out. S. Repens, I like to plant them pretty deep, and then they'll perk up, start aiming towards the light, and they grow pretty quick once they start taking off. So we're trying not to have the plants look too grouped up by species, looking for areas within the wood that we can kind of like sprinkle in some of these stems of the S. Repens, because we're trying to create a natural sort of look, transition from foreground, midground to background, and we're not trying to like keep them too bunched up with each other. That's why you may see me slipping in S. Repens kind of around some of these woods, just so it looks a bit more natural and they're like fading upwards into the stems a bit better. Another plant we are using in the midground is this Hydrocotyle Sibthorpioides.
I can't pronounce it too, so it's not just you.
Hydrocotyle has leaf shapes similar to other Hydrocotyle tripartita, with these kind of 4-leaf clover-ish leaves. Really is dramatic about its transition into the light, like you will notice that in a couple of days after the plant's been exposed to light, it'll really be facing, each of the leaves will be facing upwards towards the light. That's why I love it so much. That's why we use it so much in immersed setups too, is it grows really well immersed.
And then the upper mid-ground.
AR Mini.
Oh yeah, this will grow out really nice. But the only problem is it likes light, which is why I'm like planting it in open areas instead.
So we just finished planting our mid-ground. We got our AR Mini, our S Repens, and our Hydrocotyle in. We're gonna fill this tank up, we're gonna walk away for a bit, and then we're gonna get into planting these stems. So I'm gonna fill it up about halfway right above the mid-ground, just so these plants don't dry up when we walk away. Yeah, should be good.
All right, so now that we're on stem planting, we want to strategically plan out where we're going to be planting certain stems and certain stem colors so that we have gradual gradations of color going throughout the back and straight towards the front. And now, based on my excellent drawing here, this whole area is now filled up until here, right? Even this area is filled. So now our focus is really right here, right here, right here, and right here. So we're gonna go from green all the way up to a dark red. Also from here, green all the way up to a dark red. And then from here, we'll go green all the way up to the dark red.
And then towards these heavy sections where our hardscape kind of comes to a peak and kind of draws near this back glass, we're gonna make sure to really highlight those red stems kind of here and back here. Yep. So should be pretty sweet. So the first stem that we're doing is this nice green with the red stems, and this is Rotala Indica green. This is a cool sort of middle ground, kind of playing with the idea of the reds in the stem section. Should be really good, and these look fantastic. They're super healthy.
What Parker has over there, the Myriophyllum parrot's feather, grows very fast compared to like a Rotala or a Ludwigia. So overusing a plant that grows too fast can overshadow and it will outpace / outgrow a lot of these plants that we're using. And we don't want to just be constantly trimming one stem plant. So by using it sparingly, we're kind of relieving ourselves from that.
So the next plant we're gonna use is this Rotala bossy. And what's nice about this is it gets this really like bright orange. We're gonna look to fill in some of the gaps of our hardscape with this to kind of start that gradient upwards. And then afterwards, we are going to be filling in these sections behind it with
Rotala orange juice and Nasea.
Rotala orange juice, Nasea golden, right?
Yes, which is a yellow plant.
So it should be pretty cool.
So to me, almost all Rotalas look the same. As long as they're in the Rotundifolia family, they will all look the same, the only difference is they become different colors. So orange juice really does turn orange. It's a brighter orange, it's not just a deep orange. It's like I would say like a orange juice orange.
Half the name does it justice. Okay, working our way back into the midground, we're going with some epiphytes. I have Anubias and a Petite, a classic. I'm just gonna be shoving this into holes and openings in the wood, and this should just add a nice contrast with the leaf shape compared to the stems and the grass that we use. And the last plant we're doing, keeping it low tech, we are using this needle leaf Java fern. I think this is our favorite of the Java ferns just because it has these beautiful long leaves. We just finished planting our Anubias, kind of putting them into the cracks in the woodwork, just filling in those gaps and filling in those shadows. So yeah, finishing off with this.
Yeah, so here's the final layout with all the plants finally planted in. Maybe we'll add a few bits and pieces here and there while we're filling, or maybe 1 week after. But for the most part, this is the look that we kind of envisioned and had in mind. So I would say my drawing was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I'd say 95% accurate. But be sure to stay tuned because we're gonna show the full process of all the equipment that we're installing. And this is just gonna turn out to be a full high-tech type planted tank.
This tank is gonna be epic. We're not holding anything back in terms of equipment too. So super excited to show you guys what we have planned for that. Should be good. So any last words?
Please like and subscribe for my great drawing.